Welcome to the Daily B Show with Matty B and Brian Jenkins in the house, episode 79. Guys, we're here spreading the word, believing in yourself, expressing yourself authentically and evolving consciously, sharing big ideas and concepts that give you every reason and resource to succeed. That's a good tagline, isn't it? Thought of that myself. So, getting the big man in the house and really excited to jump on. New pet name for him. And talking about a lot of things are going to come up, I envision. But, one of the things, hey, buddy, how are we?
Good afternoon. Well, for you guys, good evening to you.
Fully, man, fully. Where are you? Where are you calling in from? It looks beautiful.
I am calling you from the beautiful, this is in the island of Gran Canaria, one of the 7 islands of the Canary Islands. And just give you the background view here. So this is the beach. This is San Agustin in Gran Canaria. Don't know if you guys can hear me okay with the waves, but so decided to take it to the waterfront, into nature to join you.
Beautiful, man. I love it. Was it 9 o'clock in the morning there? You just got up, had a good start to the
Yeah,
day?
yeah, man. The thing is, it was a bit of a slow start because I'm still getting a bit back into the groove of our place. We had to move out for our bathroom being remodeled, so did a lot of painting this weekend. Didn't sleep that well, but I'm here alive, fresh air. What more can I ask for? So doing
Absolutely.
good.
That's it, man. As long as you wake up in the morning, the rest is uphill from there.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
Cool, man. So just quickly, do you mind, for those that haven't met you, that are seeing you for the first time, just share a little bit about who you are, where you're at, what you're up to at the moment?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, the obvious, Brian Jenkins. I'm an American guy living in the Canary Islands. It's one of I live in Gran Canaria, one of the 7 Canary Islands off the coast of Morocco. I've been here particularly for about 6 years now. For before that, I was in London, did 2 years there. So what led me to London was actually doing a master's degree in MBA, and that's where I thought I had to go down the corporate path and to be a consultant and accept the position with an American company selling sun cream, organic and natural sun cream, which led me to the Canary Islands to work my tan, and I've been here ever
You've been
since.
working it
So
well,
what's that?
and you've been working it well by the looks of it.
Yeah, right. It works. I'm a
Yeah.
live testimonial. So that's it, man. I mean, really, that's it in a nutshell. So, the transition now being in the Canary Islands, the idea is to go back to the United States this July. So I'm sure we'll touch on that later on. But yeah, it's really just enjoying the experience and living abroad and not being inside the United States. So.
Fantastic, man. And so how long were you working in the sales and in the corporate environment after finishing your degree?
To be fair, I don't even know if you want to call it a corporate job after finishing the second degree. To be honest with you, with this company, it was a small. Even though it was an international company, it was quite small. But I was with them for about 3 years before they wanted me to go back to the United States to actually to help develop the company and
Okay.
open up the wholesale branch of the company in the United States. And on paper, the job was fantastic, mate. It was autonomous. My territory would have been from Key West up until South Carolina, developing a new branch of the company. It was just at that point in time, it was the wrong place. I didn't want to go back to the United
Mm.
States, so I left. Well, I stopped working with the company. I stayed here. So
When I think of corporate, inaccurately, I think of it as more so a mindset of just being in that environment of working for the man, working
mhm.
in positions where we sort of almost like the Hollywood blockbusters make out like is the ultimate be all and end all of life's purpose to go
Right.
down this path and create the wealth and the abundance within those sort of corporate or business environments, and just getting trapped in there. But can you shed a little bit on, yeah, this your own upbringing and then what sort of veered you towards getting into that space, going through that degree and following that path, and we'll get to
Yeah.
the transition after that as well.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Well, for me, the American dream. So I swallowed that pill. I took it in, and I took all the steps, right? So even before I graduated high school, I was involved in internship programs. I was working for actually at that point in time, 17, 18 years old in the summers, working for large corporate insurance companies to get my foot in the door. Start that path. And then when I did my first degree in uni in Orlando. Um, it's the same kind of machine to get you prepared for the real world. So I finished the first degree actually in hospitality with a focus on special events. That was like my first kind of like my first like career path was doing conferences, trade shows, things of this nature. And you're always in that kind of like you said, I fell for that idealism of like you said, having the corner office, the glass office overlooking the city, the big wooden mahogany desk and all the little figures and stuff you put on to make it look nice and having the meetings, the big power
They are
meetings,
nice,
like
nice
dude,
offices.
I
I've seen them.
fell for it. Yeah, I fell for all that stuff and I wanted it too. Like at least I thought I wanted it.
Yeah.
And so what actually took me to do my master's, the MBA in London, was actually a little bit more. It was for advanced degree, but also more for love. Like my previous girlfriend, my ex girlfriend, she went, and I wanted to study abroad, but also wanted to continue the relationship. So I was like, okay, well, this is it. I just do the MBA. I just do the MBA. It was not thought out at all. There was no
Yeah.
master plan behind it. I was like, okay, I'll do the MBA and then work for like this consulting company. I was like, I'll do the MBA and figure it out afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I got to London.
Love it.
Once I actually got into it and I saw how people were sharing their experience about like the real corporate world, because even at that point in time in Orlando, doing special events, it's not really okay. I worked for corporations, I did their events, but actually the company I worked for was very small.
Mm.
So anyway, in my class, talking to classmates and they're telling about their experience about working for auto companies and petroleum companies in the corporate life. It wasn't for me at all, mate. I decided to find out the hard way after investing like 50,000 or 60,000 total dollars in student loans to get that degree, to get that MBA, to be
Mm.
in London. I found out later on, I was like, I don't want that.
What were some
um,
of the things that people were sharing with you that really like got you thinking like maybe this isn't the path that I really want to follow?
hmm. It was more, it was more the rigidity of it. It was more the cookie cutter nature
Yeah.
of it. Do you know? Like, so there
Yeah.
were aspects that I loved about it. The aspect I did like about it was the collaboration, the innovation, the strive for being the best in your industry. That all that stuff sounded great, right? I love that. But towards when I saw how they were talking about the bureaucracy of talking to this department, or they had a little bit of freedom, and not every corporation is like that. Some businesses do quite well giving their employees the autonomy to expand their creativity and to really grow, right? But in general, the idea of being stuck to a 9 to 5, or shit, let's be honest, a 9 to 9, 7 days a week, and really not having much flexibility to be themselves, and that just really turned me off. It just wasn't me. The
Yeah.
idea of it seemed great. Watched on TV seemed great, but actually me put myself in that, it just wasn't me.
So one thing that's coming up for me is because I don't want to discount the value of being an employee and working for people and following people's missions, and I think that's where there's a bit of a fracture when talking about this topic, because it's not necessarily all about being your own business owner, but because I've worked for businesses that are full of soul and passion, and whose employees really are on that train because they do have an aligned vision and an aligned passion for life, and it does fulfill their employees. They put their employees first. But have you experienced that in the workplace yourself, or is that something that you want to sort of create as a business owner moving forward? Something you've thought about?
Hmm. You're absolutely right, Matt. I have experienced that, so I can't say from my personal experience it wasn't all doom and gloom. It wasn't all just do as you're told and just listen. So for example, I was quite lucky. A lot of the organizations that I worked for were quite small, so I had very close contact with the owner, the owner of the company. So for me, my experience was quite positive. However,
Yeah.
it just still didn't fit. I always felt like I always reached their ceiling. Do you know what I mean? So although they were quite
Yeah.
open to a degree,
Yeah.
when it came down to it, it was their business, their idea, their dream. And so regardless of what idea I had, perhaps my idea wouldn't serve me. There were
Yeah.
most times, more often than not, I couldn't really experiment with that. Now with my own business, my own path, I can experiment, until I'm blue in the face. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I keep on going, right? I get that satisfaction of knowing that, okay, I tried, it didn't work, or I tried, it did work. Working for someone
Yeah.
else, even though you have that autonomy in most cases, because like you said, there are companies that are quite good. They'll say, look,
Yeah.
try it. If you mess up, take responsibility for it and go with it, right? But a lot
Yeah.
of people, it's about money. So if you test the waters out on my dime and you mess up, then you'll pay the consequence. So I
Yeah.
had quite a good experience with it, but just still not that complete fulfilling satisfaction of actually doing it on my own time in my own way.
So there is a massive disparity in so many people's personalities and the types of people that are out there. What do you see within yourself that's really different to those people that really are like followers and people that are meant to be the second or third person in charge to follow a leader? And what did you notice that was different about yourself compared to the employees and the followers in amongst that environment?
Mhm. Yeah, I think for sure the biggest thing was, even though it wasn't my business, I'd almost treat it like it was my business. I would put the energy into it, the care into it as if it were mine. I would work the hours, actually, in most cases, gladly to do it because I wanted to excel. And that's, I think, that the part of it that kind of gave me that bit of dissatisfaction because I can only go so far, right?
Yeah.
So although I was putting the hours in, I was, doing the extra research, doing the studies of a market analysis and things that they weren't asking me to do. I was going well beyond my job description to do it because I had that curiosity. Um, Unfortunately, once it got to the point of presenting the idea or sharing my findings, and more often than not, they were like, okay, I appreciate that, but that's not where we're at right now, right? It's like, well, damn, all that work for nothing. But I could be mad at them because they didn't ask me to do it. I voluntarily chose to do it, right? So I think for me, that's probably the biggest one is when my coworkers were quite happy to bugger off, right at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock when their workday was done. I was quite happy to put in that extra time or show up a bit earlier to get an edge on the day, But again, in the end, with me wanting to create a bit more, it just didn't serve me. It kind of left me a bit empty and unfulfilled.
Mm. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
Mm.
Did you find almost in any circumstances like an adverse effect to that above and beyond nature and to the type being that type of personality that is willing to step up and is willing to share your ideas and is willing to express findings like that? Did you find any of your superiors or leaders of the businesses would actually come down on you for that and sort of try and put you back in the place because of their own insecurities in any way?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that was probably, the last job that I had. It was very similar to that. It's a great company. I enjoy my time with them. I enjoy the owner of the company. We still have great contact together, and still actually my direct boss. I have great contact with
Yeah.
her as well. But that's exactly what you're saying is we did have these butting of the heads where they used the phrase that used to drive me crazy. Do it this way because it's tried and proven. It's tried and proven. I was like, okay, yes, okay, it works, but is it working to the best of the ability, right? Like
Mm.
I see what you're
Yeah.
saying, but we still have these pitfalls that we keep falling into. And because we've learned how to navigate this landmine, can we just get rid of the damn landmines? So, and that was a frustrating part, and it stifled me, mate. Like it got to the point in time where I lost interest in the company. Like my desire to want to really give it my best and to
Mm.
motivate my team and to create actually to get the most sales possible for that year, it was diminished. Like I lost that fire. I didn't.
Yeah.
It's like, what was the point? And so
Mm.
yeah, so maybe I made it harder on myself to not stick to the script because that's what they're saying. Just do what we're telling you, and you'll have these results. Da, 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 da. And I said, okay, what you're saying works on that island over there, but here it's a bit different, right? So I'm saying I see something different, I feel something different, and so it did
Yeah.
it. It just just like Samantha was saying to a degree, like it limited my growth. Like it made me not
Yeah.
want to push further. It made me not want to try to dig deeper. So I was like, all right, well, I just shut up and go with the flow, right?
Yeah. What I find with especially a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners is that, and going through personal development work, I've said it a few times on these videos, is that the more I strip away and learn more about myself, is that I had it right when I was a kid. Like I'm going back to my childish ways almost. And entrepreneurs and business owners are like this mischievous little kids that just want to poke at everything and ask why. And if they're not satisfied with that question being fulfilled, like they're just going to keep fucking poking until they get a better answer or find something else. So
Right. Mate, that was definitely me because I can tell like there was a frustration like with my direct boss, and she'd kind of give these answers to try to like just get me away, like you almost give to a kid. I don't have kids yet, but like how our parents used to tell us, Yeah, well, why is the sky blue? Well, because the sky's blue because, God painted it that way. Whatever excuse they give us, right? The
Just
hope
because
they
it
just go
is.
away. Well, where do clouds come from? Because of that smokestack over there is producing the clouds. So she tried to give me these kind of like
Yeah.
these reasons,
Science
rationale
answer.
of why something wasn't working. And I'm like, no. And then it should drive her mad. But like you said, I just wanted to get down to the root of it. Just,
Yeah.
giving me a kind of a surface answer just wasn't cutting it. So I get it.
Yeah. Bang on. So talk to me about the transition, man. Talk to me about maybe some catalysts that really pushed you over the edge to then go out on your own. But also, I know from the brief chats that we've had that there was really like a disalignment with what you were doing and a pull towards something else. Can you sort of paint a picture for us in what you experienced in that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the transition came like a car crash. It was
Yeah, it always
fast,
does.
sudden, and unexpected because um, when the owner of the company, he's based out of Orlando, planted the idea that this is what he planted. He goes, well, I have you on the short list for this position in Orlando, and so this is what I'm thinking about. Your job role, how I see you in that position. It's not for sure that you'll do it. You're on the short list, but I knew what that meant. That means I'm going, right? So
Yeah.
I had a short amount of time to decide, okay, I don't even want to go back to the United States, but then I'm in Spain. So it's a bit different here where we can't just stay as an American, you can't just stay without being able to prove a source of income, have a business, have another contract with another company. Like other Europeans, they can actually stay and kind of figure it out. I didn't have that luxury. So within months, and actually, I'm sorry, within a couple of weeks, I had to identify a business to do, and then a couple of months to build this business in preparation to leave this company to actually have some kind of sustainable income here. So that transition, I wasn't really necessarily ready for it, but the circumstance made me ready for it. And so the
Yes.
business was a stationery shop. Out of
Perfect.
all things, to Matt, I came
Yeah.
from the event world. I have an MBA. I opened up a stationery shop
That's
because
awesome.
I looked around and I was like, I need to figure out something. So this is what I'm gonna do. Like, there's in the town where I was, there's a lot of businesses there. They didn't have a stationery shop, and still here, like they don't have big
Mm.
business, right? So the small shop that can do your copies, your prints, your office supplies, things like that, they're still kind of king for the most part. So I opened
Yeah.
it up from nothing, have no experience. It was like my childhood dream. Like I was always like, cutting paper and doing like crafts and stuff like this. Like my opportunity to finally make it to come to life. No, it was just like survival, right? So to make it something that was interesting, like I incorporated the eco-friendly in the environment. So I was focusing on getting like
Yeah.
recycled products and things that would be easier on the environment. And I was focused on the social side of things and how can I bring the community together and work with charity, all these different things. And so I pushed
Yeah.
it and pushed it and pushed it. Well, I didn't really have the time, the luxury to do a market analysis and realize that doing eco-friendly and doing this whole kind of like social endeavor where I was, it didn't work.
Yeah.
People didn't give
Apparently
a
it's not
damn
there.
about, no one cared the fact, like they liked the idea that it was cute, to have
Mm.
eco-friendly products and biodegradable products and they're eco-friendly, have a little leaf and stuff like that, but they're not paying more for it. Like they just wanted the
No.
cheapest they can get. It comes from China. It smells like petroleum. It's fine. If it's cheap and it works, that's all they wanted, right? And so I pushed and I pushed and I pushed to try to make it work. I was looking for suppliers in Indonesia. I was looking for suppliers in South Africa to try to get these big containers to drop the price down because I was all in it. And it got
Yeah.
to a point, Matt, where it's over a year, like I burnt myself out, probably like a year and a half. And that's a typical story with, entrepreneurship. You have to put the time in.
Mm.
You're building something
Of
that's yours.
course.
It's your baby. It's your blood,
Yeah.
sweat, and tears. You built it from nothing. I knew nothing about the business, so I had to, not only build something but go through a learning curve. Maybe it would be different if I started an event company, something I had experience with before, or a skincare company that
One,
I just
one thing you
left.
said,
Mm,
one thing you said the other day was you love that notion of now, which we'll get into the coaching side of things,
mm,
that you love the thought of just helping people jump off the cliff and build the
mm,
and create and build the wings on their way down. And that just
mm,
sounds exactly what you just threw yourself into and exactly what you had to do for yourself. And you've got that experience of really building those wings on the
yeah.
way down.
For sure. No, it's a good observation, man. It's a good observation, and I think and I think for sure that's one of my motivations. I want to go down, to make that curve, that transition into. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll call it coaching for now, as because I'm not sure how I see that person, but I would
Yeah.
like to be able to connect with people like me 10 years ago or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So the process I went through in that entrepreneurship route and building the business from scratch and trying to figure it out. Well, not trying to figure, I figured it out. I didn't really see it as an enjoyable journey. Like it was slugging it out. I became very antisocial. I was very moody with my now wife. She's my girlfriend, fiance at the time. Very
Yeah.
isolated from family, isolated from friends, and yes, we do accept certain kind of um, uh,
Circumstances.
sacrifices that can come
Yeah.
from our circumstances. When we're doing the entrepreneurship path, right? But I wasn't enjoying it. Like it wasn't a good point. It wasn't a good time, right? And so I like
Mm.
to connect with people who are going into a transition, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, to enjoy the process as much as possible, right? And to not miss out on life. I
Yeah.
feel like I missed out on probably about 2, 3 years of my life just going through the motions because it's what I had to do. I had to
Mm.
do. I had to get the next idea, the next product. I had to get the next marketing idea, connect with this company, and it wasn't something that really was enjoyable because I was in autopilot, but it was an autopilot that was almost like self-destruct mode, right? So yeah, so now turning the corner and going towards more coaching, that's who I'd like to identify with now to help in that process.
It sounds like you were really up in your head, like you were really doing the book work, analytical, logical side of what the rational mind tells me to do, the path that tells me to follow, and just really sort of abandoning your a bit of the heart and soul of where you really found passion in your own life. Would that be fair to say?
Spot on, mate. I was trying to get my money's worth of that damn MBA I paid for, right? I'm trying to like do all the analysts, all
Yeah.
the modelings, all the frameworks. Like I'm getting my damn my money's worth one way or another from this damn degree, right? But yeah, the heart and soul wasn't in it. Again, um, I don't regret going into the stationery shop business for that time because again it was survival mode. I
Awesome.
wanted to stay here on the island, and that's the quickest thing I can do to that's the quickest thing I can think of to stay. Had I
Invaluable experience as well.
Yeah, and if I could do it over again, Matt, what I would have done is I would have gone into the heart space and say, okay, take an extra week to figure out what you could connect with to open a business that's more in tune to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to just do something, right? And so, but no,
Yeah.
I was definitely into head. I was definitely into, doing the logic and going down the path that, I saw was the right way as opposed to what's going to be right with me.
So you kind of answered this next question, but if you've got something else to add as well, like what would you go back and give, what advice would you give to yourself at the start of that journey if you could go back now and speak to yourself?
Yeah, start that journey. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it would go into the heart space. It would ask myself, what is it that I'm into? What is it I'm really passionate about? Um, and I'm trying to actually think of how I would answer that question if I could go back. You know, because I don't like to focus on like the problems or the barriers too much, now. But you know,
Yeah.
at that point in time, I didn't. My Spanish was far from fluent. I mean, it's far from fluent now. I can definitely have a conversation just fine.
Saca
But
some
I didn't have
Spanish for
Spanish on
us.
my side. Bueno, entonces en este momento yo no podía trabajar casi nada de español. I couldn't speak really
Even I
nothing of
find that
Spanish.
offensive.
To untrained ears, sounds fantastic. Um, but then at the same time, the economy here in the Canary Islands is still a bit rough, mate. We have about 30% unemployment, depending on what figures you look at,
Mm.
right? So trying to get a job of something that could pay me that I needed to get paid at that point in time was very slim. So it's hard to say what I would have gone into, but I definitely would give myself more time because I did have,
Yeah.
some money saved and I had money coming from um, because here I don't know how the social system works in Australia, but at least in Spain, we have unemployment, but you can actually get that money back for unemployment, even though I chose to walk away, right? So I had money to play
Mm.
with to buy myself some time. I would have given myself more time to figure out something that's more in tune with me as opposed to rushing into something.
Yeah. Okay. And also one thing is that's coming up to touch on is because it's not necessarily like you said that the experience of doing a stationery shop is great and a part of the entrepreneurial journey. But do you think there's merit in just the perspective that you maybe held at the time as well? And you could have, do you think you could have still gone down that route, but just the intent, like the underlying intention of and purpose for actually doing it with a bit more heart and soul? Do you think that would have
Hmm.
had a bigger, a more of an impact on your peace of mind,
Yeah.
on your, I don't know, on certain levels?
Yeah, no, without a doubt, mate. Without a doubt. And When I went into, yeah, so if I went into it with a different, now to be fair, when I first got into it, I did go into it with excitement, um with creativity. I was thinking, oh God, this is my own shop now, so I can do whatever I want. My wife and I, we built the whole store out pretty much out of recycled materials. So everything was made from pallets, old
Yeah.
things we found on the side of the road. The whole idea is to create a store that wouldn't contribute to more waste, but more so take it away. So we started off with that idea, but what happens is
Yeah.
when I ran into the barriers of not being able to
Yeah.
connect with people as I wanted to, not being able to get people as excited about the eco-friendly products as I anticipated, I took
Yeah.
those to heart. And that knocked me
Yeah.
off. Like it slowly started to kind of whittle away at me as to, like, what's the point? I'm
Yeah.
trying so hard, da da da. And I don't know. I think there's a natural frustration that's going to come with that, but for sure I could have taken those hurdles differently, as opposed to letting it
Okay.
identify my business or identify what my ambition was. I could have just taken a look. Okay, right, so they're not into this particular product, maybe they'll be into another product. Maybe they don't like this
Yeah.
price point, maybe I can lower this price point, maybe I can increase the price a little bit, 5%, 10% of the normal products, and reduce it of the eco-friendly products so they're more in line with each other. So a lot of things I could have done differently, rather than let myself get burnt out and run out of steam, essentially. So yeah,
Yeah.
if I went into it with more intention, I definitely, or a different intention, I definitely could have enjoyed that process a bit more.
Yeah. And hindsight's a wonderful thing, obviously.
Yeah, it
But
is, right.
you know, but what did I have? Let's go back to before this as well. Like where you grew up, what your childhood was like, and what sort of, I don't know, influences you had around you that sort of spurred you down this path as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Growing up wise, well, I grew up in well, I was born in South Carolina. At 8 months old, my family
Yeah.
moved to Italy. My father was in the Air Force, so we were there for 3 years. From
Yeah.
3 years old to 9 years old, we lived in Miami. After the Hurricane Andrew came in '92, pretty much destroyed our house, and so we moved from Miami to temporarily to Georgia until we can find a place. We're in Georgia for about 3 to 5 months. I really don't remember. Then we
Yeah.
moved back from Georgia, back to Florida into the Tampa area, and then from Tampa, from 10 years old to about 18 years old, 18 years old, and then um, to Orlando, do my first degree. Now, growing up wise, neither one of my parents went to college or uni. They're both very hard workers. I was one of in the household, one of six kids. So when I
Right.
was a bit younger, things were a bit, I can't say hard. They weren't hard, to be honest with you, because my parents didn't make it feel hard for us, right? We didn't have a lot of money,
Yeah.
but we didn't really know that we didn't have a lot of money because we had food to eat. We always had shelter. We had clothes. There's nothing like that seemed like poor. But really, in
Yeah.
hindsight, thinking back, yeah, they were very, careful with how we spent money. We didn't do luxurious things. We didn't go out to eat. If we did, it was like at a buffet somewhere, and that was like a once every 2 month kind of occurrence. But again, as a kid, you have no rationale of what's normal, right? So it's great for us.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that sense of like of um, of scarcity or anything like that.
Yeah.
Growing up with, now I was the youngest of the bunch. The next sister to me was 5 years older, and the next closest brother
Oh
to me was
wow.
10 years older. Yeah, so
Oh wow.
so even though I had a lot of siblings, I can't say we had like a strong connection just because of the age difference.
Yeah.
Um,
Has
I
that strengthened
was
over time?
Oh yeah, man, it sure has. Like we're a lot
Yeah.
closer
Okay.
now because now once you get to a certain age, it doesn't really matter anymore, right? Now we all have
Yeah.
same bills, we have the same problems, we have the same relationship issues. Everything's the same now, right? Before,
We'll
when
still
they were going
relate to
through
each
life,
other.
like yeah, I'm just like playing baseball, like enjoying life. They're like going through real life adult shit, and I'm just enjoying,
Yeah.
right? So we could connect, but not really at the same level. So um, so I was the only, I guess, mixed race person you can say, like black and white. My closest sister to me is white. I hate saying those terms, but in America we're very black and white, literally. And
Such
then
a
my
racist.
my full older brothers are just black, right? And so
Yeah.
it's funny because I don't think that really had any kind of impact on me because it's all you see. So when I see
Yeah.
my white mother, my black father, my white sister, my black brothers, like that was my world. It didn't seem like anything different, right? But when I
Yeah.
see like a other mixed race family, like it catches me off guard. I'm like, damn, is that what our family looks like? Because I can look at that family, I can look at my family and still see no resemblance, because again, the faces of my family
Yeah.
are my family. I don't see like the color, right?
Yeah.
But also, I only see the difference when I see someone else. So anyway,
That's
going
really
down that
interesting.
path, like my father was very, my parents were very, how I say, to work with integrity, to always do your best. And so it doesn't matter if you're cleaning the bathroom at McDonald's, you do your best, because the only thing you have in life really is the last job you've done. And so
Yeah.
I think that definitely led me down the path of wanting to do a higher education, to do more, do my best, and then to go live abroad, and to explore and to not hold yourself back. Even though my parents didn't do the college route, they definitely didn't discourage me. They also didn't pay for it either. They said, "Well, look, it's your choice if you want to do it." So I can't really say there's so much influence in regards to taking that path different than my family but what did influence me was for sure is wanting to, I guess, keep pushing the limits of what you can do in some kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Hard work and integrity also, it looks
Mm,
like it's rubbed off a bit too.
yeah.
Yeah, man. So with moving forwards as well, like you've obviously had your own challenges and trials and tribulations as well. What does the next 5 to 10 years look like in an ideal world for you? Where's your sort of
Oh,
mind
ideal
veering?
world.
This is
Yeah.
exciting. What I've heard so
Yeah.
far, anyway.
Man, the next 5 to 10 years is I don't know where I'll be. I know I'll be somewhere in the world, right? And I'm saying that because as we shared, my wife and I
Hopefully.
we're in the process of creating our life to be on the road and to travel the world, and to be able to have our kids experience the world actually live, not just from the textbook, not from looking on the internet, but actually experiencing things live. So where we'll be, I
Yeah.
don't know, but we won't be in Spain and we won't be in the United States for sure. Um, we'll definitely both be some kind of practitioners in our craft. Whether it's the coaching route, whether it's doing seminars and workshops from a marriage standpoint, from a relationship standpoint. It's definitely helping people pull out the best of themselves in whichever way, shape, and form that is. So, for example, if it comes to a relationship, I'm no expert, but my wife and I, being from two different cultures, she doesn't speak English. My Spanish was horrible when we first got together. So you can imagine those challenges and what we have to go through to kind of keep the relationship together, right? And
Yeah.
and to recognize how people are quick to throw in the towel on a relationship. So I want to pull people
Yeah.
and challenge, especially men, in a relationship, how to pull the best out of themselves to give the best of themselves to their partner, right? So there's
Yeah.
a lot of different aspects of how we can see ourselves helping each other, but we're doing that in different cities. We're doing that in different countries around the world, and we're having the best of both worlds. We're both traveling, which we love to do. We're
Yeah.
spending time with our kids, which is what we want to do as well. It's very important to us. We're always honing in on our craft, making it better, making ourselves more effective, more effective for what we do to other people.
What does your
And we're
partner
just
do?
happy, mate. What's that?
What does your partner do?
Oh, well, she actually right now she works for she's a like a property manager, like a commercial property manager. So
Oh,
she's
cool.
done with that. Like she's actually we're in the process of getting her. I shouldn't say that, right? It's okay. I can say that because most of the people who would probably listen to this don't speak English anyway. So she's in the process of her way out. They just don't know it yet. Um,
Exclusive here on the Daily B.
yeah, right. Let's tune into her now as she walks out. So yeah, so she wants to leave that completely, and she's in that transition of she's worked there for over almost 20 years now. So it's her first
Wow.
job, and she's been there since
Ooh.
since she's like 17 years old. And so she's ready to give that
Right.
up, and that's a process for her as well. So yeah, mate. So the vision for the next 5, 10 years, there is there's clarity, but then there's not. But that there area that
Cool.
there's no clarity, that's the exciting part of it, to be honest with you. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with that having that now. So
Hell yeah. Absolutely. So we're going to catch up over in Florida and rendezvous in the States and maybe do a couple of events together.
yeah, this is it's already in the works. My brother called me yesterday to say that he want to clarify a couple of details, like what kind of needs that you'll have. So he said he has about 3 places in mind. So he's gonna today. He said today. My brother's not that on point, but within this week, I'm sure he's gonna
Yeah,
send over
yeah.
some pictures of the 3 venues that he has in mind with some details and go from there. So he's already so
Very
it's
cool.
already in motion. The word is out over there. My brother in Parks Recreation, Miami-Dade County, is already putting the Matty B events in motion. Whether it be in that system or not, it's already in motion. So
That's it, man. That's it. I love it. I love it.
Mm,
Is there some, well, actually, one thing I did wanted to go back to was um really getting into business, right?
mm,
And coming from that heart space, but then being able to marry up, right? The importance of um economy
mm,
and profit with your good intentions as well.
mm,
I want to just hear your take on that. You've gone through obviously starting a business with the best of intentions, really wanting to
mm,
have a big impact,
mm,
but also at the starting point of your journey as well, which you met the need to obviously wind it back and just focus on how you're going to make that work as well.
mm,
And from my perspective, I think that's beautiful as well, because the more you can create for yourself, the more impact and power and influence you've got to actually go and impact the world.
mm.
But from your own experience and take on that, can you share a little bit of insight? Because I know there's a lot of, just to create some context, I know there's a lot of healers,
Mm.
um, service providers, coaches, people that really do want to have an impact on the world, but yet they struggle because um, that hinders them at the starting point, I think, to getting off the
Mhm,
blocks,
mhm.
and which essentially they're shooting themselves in the foot. But what would be your take and advice for people in that sort of sphere from what you've gone through?
Oh, Matty B, you're asking such a seemingly simple question with such a deep answer. So
We got 4 minutes.
oh, so fun. Let's get a shout out to my mom real quick. She's actually in Palm Harbor, Florida. Actually, another good contact for you, Matty B. We'll hook up with my mama. You have a place to stay.
Beautiful.
So
Love
for
to.
me, yeah, yeah, spot on, mate. So me always wanting to help people, I kind of had this battle of comfort with money because my heart was, I think, in the right intention, the right place of wanting to give back, and I kind of took that as is if I'm really doing it to help people, then I almost felt guilty to make money, right? And I have felt that way for a
Yes.
long time. Like I felt that way for
Mm.
a long, long time. And to be honest with you, I still battle with that a little bit. Not as much as I did before,
Me
but a
too.
little bit. So when I, for example, opened the stationery shop, it's because I actually cut my profits because I wanted those eco-friendly products to be cheaper because my thought was, okay, if they're cheaper, more people will buy them. So even if my profit is less on those products, if I know that there's less plastic in the ocean, there's less shite out there, then I can live with that, right? And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad idea. However, on the flip side, for the impact, like you said, like the impact that you're going to have, that you are having right now, and the impact that I want to have, that I'm going to project it, that I'm going to have, selling for that little slender bit of profit means I have less resources to have a bigger impact.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that before. You know, I didn't get that. I didn't
Mm.
understand that. And so, not to say that that path of working with that small profit doesn't mean that I won't get there. It just means I might
Yeah.
take a bit longer. It just means that my resources are a bit stretched a bit more thin,
Mm.
right? And so this is
Yeah.
how it is now. And so I accept the fact that going down the social side of things, or the connectivity, the coaching part of things, that there's a value that comes with that. So for example, let's put a
Yeah.
finer point on this. I invested in myself in a program called Man Cave. I know you're familiar with it. We saw Sam Lewis jump on real quick. You know, Man Cave with Preston Smiles. You know, that's an investment that I made into myself. That's, you know, it's a couple $1,000s, right? Um, but it's an investment that I made into coaches, other people who had more experience than I did, right? To guide me along a path to make me a better person, a better version of myself, which it happened, it's done. Now, the money I invested in myself, I was happy to pay that for the results that I got from it. So if I'm
Yes.
happy to give my hard-earned money to somebody else to make me a better person, why is it that I cut myself short? Why is it that I feel
Yeah.
like that my value, the impact I have on somebody else isn't as valuable, or I should feel guilty to do that? And so this is where I'm at now, where I don't feel the guilt anymore, right? Like I do want myself to be, I want it to be accessible to as many people as possible. I want to be
Yeah.
able to help as many people as possible. However, understand that the biggest impact that I can have on the world and on myself is to, one, understand my value, which I learned from Tanya Hawkins, that she's actually watching right now. She's probably still in Mexico right now. a former
Well,
solid gold
shout out
dancer.
to you.
She's actually she drilled that in, is actually understand what your value is and the impact you can have on other people. So it's
Yeah,
okay if not everyone can afford my services. That's okay. Maybe I'm not the
yeah,
person for them at this point in time, or maybe right now as I'm getting started, there's people who can afford my services, and maybe in the next 2, 3, 5 years they won't be able to. That's okay. I don't have to be everything to all people at all times. That's why we have the
yeah,
circle of life. That's why people are developing. So to get back to your question, um, I think that struggle is I think if you are really thinking big, like you and I were thinking big, we have to understand that we may charge more for our services, but the value and what people will get from it, they'll get tenfold, they'll get 20-fold,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
the money I invested into Man Cave, there's no price for that. There's the like the benefit that I felt from it is way more than the couple thousand euros I paid for it. Like it's priceless for me. So I would say have faith and trust in yourself and the value you're going to give. Now, if you're still not quite sure in the value you're going to give, then maybe you'll have that conflict, right? And that was my problem. I wasn't sure of like, it was like, oh, can I add value? Can I really give someone something to take away? And I had to kind of like
yeah,
shut that voice up and actually say, no, damn, I'm the bomb, right? Like I have a lot of value to give. I'm going to
yeah,
charge for it. If you don't want to pay for it, that's okay. Somebody else will. And if nobody wants
yeah,
to pay for it, then maybe you go back to the drawing board and actually realign the value that I'm offering.
yeah, 100%. I love that. One of my coaches, Chris Duncan, he shared that he wants and I want everyone to become millionaires. And when you earn $1 million, that $1 million doesn't go in your pocket. You pay an operations manager, you get a marketing manager, you got a PR, a PA, you got all these people that you're actually providing for, who are then providing for their families. And then from that, then you're left over with a little bit to then go and use that to go and change the world in your own ways as well.
Correct.
And so
Correct.
it's just, it is the sort of be selfish to be selfless sort of route going around.
Correct,
Hmm.
correct. And I'm actually, and just to kind of like to, I want to say drag the point on because I think it's an important point, and I'm probably projecting a bit to something that I still have within me. But,
Yeah.
and this is actually a friend of mine. He has a place here, but he's Belgian. He lives in Belgium, and this is what he explained to me as well. Because when I told him I have a stationery shop, he goes, how do you why do you have a stationery shop? I was like, well, because I want to change the world and I want to have eco-friendly products and all these different things. He's like, yeah, I get that. Because I think that's great that you're thinking about the environment and you want to provide products that will leave less of an impact on the world. He goes, but how many people are you really helping that you really want to help? I said, well, if I just start here, and so the point I'm getting at is although my intentions were great intentions, they're admirable intentions. A lot of people have them. I was limiting myself and the impact I can have going farther. And that's what he was saying to me. He was saying, he goes, well, look, think about it differently. The more resources you have, the more money you can make because money is a tool. He goes,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we look at money as like an evil thing. We use here on earth, to go and to be um, stewards of the world, if you will, then get as much of that resource as possible to make as big of an impact as you can, right? And so that's how that helped me to shift my mindset, how I saw that and how I saw myself and how I saw myself around the idea of money and felt guilty about making money or wanting to make money, and now understand that no, hell no. The more I make, the more I have, the more people I can help, give jobs, provide for families, give people more tools, connect more. Like you said, Matt, when you get to Miami, you're going to be in that same big stage that you were in the Miami the Marlins Stadium. You'll be there, mate, and people will pay good money to see you because when those 5,000, 10,000 people leave you, that's 5,000, 10 people who are like charged up and ready to take on the world, and that's money well spent, As opposed to if you stayed in Australia playing small because you don't want to charge so much and you want everyone to have access to you and only 30 people come at a time. Man, forget that. Great, that's great. I mean, the people you're helping right now is amazing. You've helped me, right? But those 10,000 people who are waiting for you to get in Miami, like in the next
Yeah.
4 months, like that's the impact there. So I had to get off my
We
chest.
gotta, nah, bro, I love it. I love it. And we just got to stop being so fucking selfish and playing small in our own right as well.
I agree. I agree,
I
man.
always have a dig at, a little bit of a cheeky dig at people that create so much necessity importance around recycling their rubbish and
Hmm.
to save the world. Yet they're only going out to work to provide for their family, their dog and their kids. I don't know. I just have a little chuckle. At least they're doing something. But
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah,
but honestly, I think we have to challenge people's ideas like that. I think we
of
have to
course.
challenge. I mean, and again, if they take it offense to it, and they get a bit wound up, well, that's their kind of their issue. But I think those are questions that we should pose to one another to make each other better, right? So really, what are you doing,
Yeah,
and what are you doing it for, and what impact are you really having? So
I love it, bro. What can I do, or the network, or anyone that might be viewing, do to assist you, or follow you, or join on your mission in any way?
oh man, well, Matt, as mentioned, man, like, you're already doing it. Yeah, again, just you being vulnerable, you putting your space out there is a great reminder to me of everything that's possible, and to have more belief in myself. I love your confidence. I love the way that you're putting your intentions out there and not hiding that from the world. And so, regards to what people can do what you're doing. Anybody else, support me. I'd say, so really I don't have any channels set up, anything yet. I don't have, I just have my own personal Facebook page, which is just Mr. Brian Jenkins. Later on I will go through and actually, streamline this, or to open up more channels for YouTube and things like that, but it's pretty basic. Just a positive energy, mate. So if you guys see a video, share it. I love feedback, so even if you
Yeah.
come across a video and you think, that point wasn't quite there, or you could have said that differently, you spoke too fast, give me feedback. Make me better. Push me and make me better. Don't be nice to me, and just watch the videos and watch whatever content I put
Constructive
out there.
criticism
Yeah,
in the face of
yeah, yeah. I love it. I
yeah.
mean, level me up, sharpen me up and push me to the edge, because if you're just sitting back, you don't want to hurt my feelings, you're not really
Yeah.
helping me. So level me up. Let me know I can be more engaging, more impactful, how I can connect in a more effective way to a broader audience. So that's all I can ask for you guys. And Samantha, thanks for hanging out with us. So I expect you to see your constructive criticism in the
Absolutely.
future.
And what a great example of humility as well. I love it. And share with us your show, like your interview show that you're doing as well, and the sort of intention behind that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the what I'm doing as well is, I think something very similar to what you're doing is, so I'm reaching out to a variety of my friends and family who's had some kind of impact on me in my life. And so the idea is share their stories of what they're doing right now, things that I recognize that's a bit different than the rest, of how they are co-creating their dreams, their lives, that's in line to them, right? And so it does two things. One, it's I want to honor these people who are doing seemingly kind of small things. For them, they think it's small, but it's really it's impacted me, and I'm sure it's impacting others. And two, it's for us to share and learn from each other right now where we're at. I think it's great to look at the big people. I think it's fantastic to look at the millionaires, the people who are doing great things. But I also think it's nice to see people of where they're starting off right now. I think we can almost get lost in the idea of, the Steve Jobs of the world, the Bill Gates, the Oprah Winfrey's. We can get lost in that image because it seems so far away. So I want to bring people like you, inspirational people who are living their dreams, who are pushing for that attention right now. People need to see your face. People need to see that experience right here, right now. And so that's the intention. It also pushes myself to connect and remind myself to enjoy the process, to enjoy the journey, and to value the progress over perfection. Not get caught up on, if I'm not done yet, I don't want to show myself. I want to keep myself hidden until I can come out with a bang. But it's okay.
Just
If people
be.
aren't impressed with the process, it's all right.
That's it. Just learning to be in the moment, loving it.
That's it, mate.
Cool, bro. Mr. Brian Jenkins, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, man, for
You as
joining
well.
me. Thanks, guys, for being
Matter
here.
B,
And
thank you so
any last
much.
words of wisdom that you'd like to share with anyone to see us off?
Yeah, stick with Matty B. He has an exciting story he has an exciting story unfolding. I'm excited about it. So if you can play the part in his role. So I actually want to get with Tanya, my mom, Terry. They're in the United States that have stuff connections there to see if I can get you sponsorship, how I can get you hooked up with people as you do your routes around the United States. So any kind of inspiration, match the inspiration. So stick with him.
Love you, brother. Thank you so
Yeah, love you
much.
too,
Have an
bud.
amazing
Take it
day.
easy.
We'll connect soon.
You
See
too,
you
man.
guys.